Medium man, physical medium man, physical medium man. What'd you buy? Was it something good?
What's up, guys? Physical Media Man back here again for another Physical Media Man Monday video. I have part 2 of the 31 Days of Halloween movie reviews. So I did end up getting in exactly 31 movies this October. Had a great time with it as usual. So yeah, this is going to be on the second half of what I've watched. Before I get started, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, leave feedback, do all that good stuff down below. I'll leave the links to my Instagram page, my Physical Media Man Store Instagram page, my Facebook page for the Physical Media Man / Physical Media Man Store, my Facebook page for non-media related items, the Hodgepodge Garage, my email, my eBay, my Twitter, and my Letterboxd account. So yeah, first up, I watched, which I didn't grab, and I ended up, so I think I mentioned, obviously, yeah, definitely on October 11th, we watched the first Twilight. I could have sworn I have the set with all of them in it. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I couldn't seem to find it. So we ended up watching them all on Hulu, besides the first one, which I have my physical copy of. And I come to find out, I think I was confused. I didn't remember how many of them I had watched out of the 5, and I'm pretty sure after watching them all, I'd only seen the first 2. So first up for part 2 here, we watched the Twilight Saga New Moon. So on these, I'm not going to go too much into detail because if you want to watch them all, I don't want to spoil anything. So it looks like this was the second one. Thought it was pretty enjoyable. It has more to do with Jacob's character, not as much focused on Edward as the first one was. Because of that, I kind of liked it a little bit more. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And then next step after that, we watched Twilight Saga Eclipse. And I didn't like this one as much. I'm going to give it 2.5, and I think it was the worst of the 5 in my opinion. I enjoyed all of them. But Eclipse, I feel like, was my least favorite. I also really like the music in these movies. If you're not aware, the soundtracks are pretty good. So yeah, there's the first 2. So I've given 3 stars to New Moon and 2.5 to Eclipse. Next up, I watched 2025 Sinners, starring Michael B. Jordan, directed by Ryan Coogler. Really, really good. I ended up watching this and the next movie on our flight to Denver to celebrate Paige and Paul's wedding. We had a great time doing that, and I was able to knock out 2 movies, one on the way there, one on the way back. Probably not the ideal way to watch the movie, but I really enjoyed it. Michael B. Jordan plays twins. I'm not sure if there's anyone else super famous in it or not, but set kind of in a Prohibition era where they at one point worked for Capone, and then vampires are involved, and there's some music numbers, and I thought it was a pretty original idea, shot really well. Great acting, especially for Michael B. Jordan. I definitely plan on getting this one at some point. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars. Definitely one of my most favorite watches this Halloween season. And then on the return flight, I watched 2025's I Know What You Did Last Summer. So it acknowledges the original I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think it was supposed to be like 20 years later. Similar thing happens if you haven't watched the original. This one does return Freddie Prinze Jr. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, and in a way Sarah Michelle Gellar. And I thought that was all really done well. I kind of enjoyed this one more than like what reviews I saw. I'm going to give it a 2.5. I didn't hate it. I'd pick it up for the right price probably. It definitely could have been better, but it surprised me a little bit, and I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, I guess I would say. Next up, I watched the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 1. Another one I don't want to talk too much about, but the cliffhanger, since this is a part 1 and part 2, I thought that one was done really well. Wanted me to watch the next one right away. Thought it moved the story along pretty well. I'm going to give it 3 stars. And then after that, I watched The Strangers Chapter 1. Big fan of the original Strangers movie. Thought it was one of the scariest movies I've seen. This one I didn't care for too much. I did, and then the cliffhanger on this one was kind of annoying, just because there's a lot that needs to be, I don't know. It didn't want me to, I mean, I wanted to watch the next one as much, but it was kind of a disappointing ending, I thought, because at least on Twilight, I thought it made you want to watch the next one more than this one, and then kind of like was a good ending, even just for being split into 2. This one, it just felt like a weird ending, I guess. And there was too many plot holes, I thought, or things where the couple could have done other things to, of course, it's a movie, but it's not as realistic, I guess, as the original Strangers, in my opinion. So I'm just going to give it 2 stars. Then next up, I watched The Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 2. Thought it was a very good end of the series. I'm going to give it 3 stars as well. Like I said, I enjoyed watching all of those. This month, this is the first time I'd watched the last 3. And always fun to complete a series like that. So, all right, next up, I got some physical media to show off. The next, I watched, so I was on 22 after October 28th. October 30th and 31st, I got in 9 movies with a friend of the show, Cody. I think he watched, yeah, we watched all of these together to get me to 31. First up was one, this is a spoiler for October pickups, which is going to be very minimal because basically the buying freeze is back on, which I said it wasn't going to happen, but it is. And I really wanted to watch this. I really wanted to pick up the new Arrow video release. I watched somebody's review of it. I can't remember who it was, but it made me think, well, maybe I'll just get the Scream Factory release because I have all of Carpenter's stuff on Scream Factory. And I found this copy for $15, including shipping, instead of the $30 whatever for the new Arrow 4K. I got In the Mouth of Madness, starring Sam Neill, with slipcover for $15. So was real excited to grab it. And even after watch, like, I thought it was good, but I'm even more excited about my decision after watching it. Saved a little bit of money. Still got a really good release. I thought it looked good. And I enjoyed it, but not as much as some of Carpenter's other stuff. But like I said, still happy to have it in the collection. So I'm just going to read the back of this. So you have, it says, Sutter Kane is the best-selling author whose newest novel is literally driving readers insane. When he inexplicably vanishes, his publisher, played by Charlton Heston, sends special investigator John Trent, played by Sam Neill, to track him down. Drawn to a town that exists only in Kane's books, Trent crosses the barrier between fact and fiction and enters a terrifying world from which there is no escape. So, good performances, pretty good story. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. I'm just going to go ahead and give it 3 stars. So, next up, I talked about this in my top 5 movies that I wanted to watch this Halloween season. Didn't get through everything I wanted to. I don't think I talked about In the Mouth of Madness, but these next 2 I definitely talked about. Cody and I have been talking about doing this for the last few years, doing a double feature of The Shining and Dr. Sleep. The problem is they're so long. The Shining's 144 minutes, and we watched the theatrical cut of Dr. Sleep, which was 152. The director's cut's 180. So, but we finally tackled these 2 here. Glad to get them in. When we decided to do this, I wasn't sure if I was going to make it to 31, but we did. And glad we revisited this because both of us had seen this, and it's been a while. I don't, probably close to 10 years at least since I had seen it, and that was the only time I watched it. So from a script he co-adapted from the Stephen King novel, director Stanley Kubrick melds vivid performances, menacing settings, dreamlike tracking shots, and shock after shock, and a milestone. In a signature role, Jack Nicholson plays Jack Torrance, who's come to the elegant, isolated Overlook Hotel as off-season caretaker with his wife and son. Just a classic movie, great performances, great lines. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't seen it. I'm gonna give that one 4 stars. And then Ewan McGregor plays Jack Nicholson's son's character, older, in this this movie here that came out, I don't know if it will say 2019, it looks like. So it says, still scarred by the trauma he endured as a child at the Overlook Hotel, Dan Torrance faces the ghosts of the past when he meets Abra, a courageous teen who desperately needs his help and who possesses a powerful extrasensory ability called the Shine. So I thought this was a really good follow-up, really good movie. Surprised me. It was even better than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to give it a 3.5, and I would definitely pick it up if I didn't already have it. So definitely glad I have that one in the collection, and glad to have finally checked it out. Next up, we watched another classic. This was a first time watch for me. Glad I finally checked it out. I honestly didn't love it. There were some things I liked, and but watched the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know, it's part musical, kind of reminded me of Little Shop of Horrors, but I kind of like this one better. Very good performance by Tim Curry, and I didn't realize Susan Sarandon was in it, but I knew Meatloaf was. So you got fasten your garter belt for the time-warping, gender-bending cult classic starring Tim Curry, Barry Bostwick, Susan Sarandon, and Meatloaf. So yeah, I'm just going to give this a 2.5 just because I didn't love it too much, which might not be fair, but I do plan on keeping it at least for now. And like I said, I'm glad I watched it for the first time. All right. Next up, we watched Freaks, the Criterion release. This was a helpful movie to watch because it was only like an hour. And Cody was talking about some of the history of the movie. Probably, I'm giving it a 2.5, but probably better for its time than that. Another one I was glad I watched, but I don't think I'll be picking up that Criterion release. Next up, we watched one of my favorites. I ended up falling asleep over halfway through, so I'm going to count it still in my watch total. We got Fright Night. Giving this one 4 stars. One of my favorite first time watches from a few years ago, and one of my favorites in my collection. Really good 80s vampire movie. Love the idea of it, and really enjoy that one. Next up, I watched a Criterion Collection Blu-ray that I ended up selling, called Kuroneko, which I'm definitely saying incorrectly, but translates to Black Cat. It follows a mom and a daughter-in-law who their son and husband goes off to fight in war. He's a samurai, and while he's away, and he's been gone for a while, they haven't heard from him. They think he's dead. Some other samurai pass through and rape and murder them, and somehow they make a deal and come back as like ghosts, but they have to kill any samurai that passes through. So don't want to say much other than that. It is in Japanese, so you have to read subtitles, which is fine with me because I usually have subtitles on. Thought it was good, but I was glad I sold it. It's kind of a weird movie, but I'm going to give it 3 stars. Like I said, I didn't love it. Happy to get rid of it. But also, don't mind that I checked it out. All right. 2 more left. Another one that was on my top 5 wanted to watch list for this year. Glad to have checked it out. We got John Carpenter's Vampires. Watched the 4K starring James Woods. Also had some characters. I'm watching One Tree Hill right now, and 2 characters from that show are in it. So that was kind of fun. Also, Daniel Baldwin was one of the main guys. So it says, forget everything you've ever heard about vampires, warns Jack Crow, the leader of Team Crow. We're a relentless group of mercenary vampire slayers. When Master Vampire Valak decimates Jack's entire team, Crow and the sole team survivor, played by Daniel Baldwin, Montoya, set out in pursuit. Breaking all the rules, Crow and Montoya take one of Valak's victims hostage, a beautiful but unlucky prostitute played by Cheryl Lee. She's the sole psychic link to Valak, and they use her to track down the leader of the undead. So yeah, it was a decent movie, a decent watch. Gonna give it 3 stars. Happy to add it to the Carpenter collection. Happy to check it out, but not one of my favorites of his either. So, and lastly, we finished off with Halloween H20 or H2O. 20 years later. So now the headmistress of a private school, Laurie Strode, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, is still struggling with the horrifying 20-year-old memories of the maniacal killer Michael Myers when he suddenly appears again with a vengeance. And this Halloween, Laurie's rebellious son, played by Josh Hartnett, who I forgot was in this, his girlfriend Michelle Williams, who I also forgot was in it, and their friends will become Michael's newest victims unless Laurie can conquer her fears and put evil to rest, or evil in its place once and for all. Also had LL Cool J, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Nancy Stevens, and Janet Leigh. They also star. So, fun revisit. Another one I hadn't watched in a long time. I'm going to give 3 stars. Thought it could be maybe better in parts, but still enjoyable nonetheless. So yeah, another fun Halloween. Hope you all had a really good Halloween. Let me know down below if there's anything you watched that you really enjoyed for the first time. I definitely didn't accomplish all I wanted to out of my top 5 things I wanted to watch this Halloween season, but I definitely knocked out the majority of them, and glad to have checked out what I did. So here's a stack of physical from the part 2 here. For my thumbnail. Again, hope you had a great Halloween. I really enjoy watching these movies every Halloween season for the last few years and putting together these videos. It's a lot of fun because it's a lot of first time watches, and I watch a lot more movies in the month than I usually do, and it's usually a lot of fun. So this is the Physical Media Man signing off. Physical Media will never die.
Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man. Physical Media Man.